Good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy New Year's Eve. How wonderful. Goodness gracious me, this is day 6. How did we get there? No, I've said that every day, I think. So let's not say that again. Good evening to everybody. I hope you're well. We've got folks from YouTube joining us. We've got Lorraine and Kathy from YouTube. I can see that. We've got Kath and Elaine and Jill and Jules and Vic Tilly Frilly O'Neill. Love saying that. Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary. I bet you're still not sewing, are you? Damn. Jackie, Patricia, Sue, Jimmy Joy. Lots of people joining us. We'll see how we get on because, of course, it's New Year's Eve. Now, look, you should be all at the disco, right? You really should. Does anybody remember going to a disco? Of course we do. Well, perhaps Gemma Joy might not. Although she knows what a disco is, obviously. But no, it's an age thing, isn't it? You only ever had discos. I mean, we did have nightclubs, but I never went to one. I would have been very frightened. So yes, you should all be at the disco, having Babycham. Now listen, I went to Broadway in the Cotswolds, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, something like that. And we went into the pub, and one of the things I love to do at Christmas in Broadway is to sit outside the pub with the brandy. I know, I live life on the edge. But when my sister and I were at the bar getting the brandy, I said to the chap, just as a bit of a joke, because he was quite young, have you got any Babycham? And he had absolutely no idea what we were talking about, which was wonderful. So my sister and I had to enlighten him on what a Babycham was. And then we had to look it up on Google, as you do. And it turns out that that Babycham was bought out by somebody some time ago. I can't remember the details. And they're going to do a relaunch. Do you remember it had like a little deer or a fawn or something on the front, something like that. And yeah, I mean, it was only like a cheap Prosecco type thing, wasn't it? And then we really started reminiscing and talking about snowballs. And I loved a snowball. I liked the cherry. I'd always eat the cherry first, but a snowball really ticked my box. So if you're not going to the disco tonight, then obviously you're joining me for an hour of stitching. If you did go to the disco or out on New Year's Eve, I remember the days, then obviously you can watch this on catch up. And if you're watching on catch up, hi, you're missing a treat. No, you're not. You're better off going to the disco. But yes, so we're on day 6, and tonight we're going to be stitching up Modern Anvil. Now I did actually again look this up on the old Tinternet, and the version I got, which is actually the picture on YouTube, the facing page on YouTube, is slightly different to the one I've got here. So I suppose there's different variations on a theme, and does it really matter? No, because we're going to stitch what the block has told us to stitch, the card, if you like. I don't deviate. So you've seen me deviate, and it's dodgy. Right, let's have a look. So very quiet. Oh, I don't know why. Let's have a look. My microphone's there. That's all switched up. I can't actually change the sound. Can't really hear me. I wonder why. Because nothing has changed in my room. Nothing has changed. The only thing I can do is to wear the mic. If I bring the mic up to me, can you hear me better? Because I can do that. It's a little bit tied up, but I can do it. Can you hear me any better if I bring the mic up? Just let me know. I don't have a volume control. It's literally the mic. It could be that it's the batteries are low. It could be that. But my technical man is not here at the moment. No, I can't turn my volume up. Please don't ask me to do that, because I can't do that. It's a microphone. So we'll see how we get on. Let's have a look. Your sound was very low on YouTube. Sound okay? So it sounds okay on my as I hold it there. It's still got one somehow now. Sorry. Yes, that's better. All right, I'll tell you what I'll do then. I'll unravel my wires, and I'll go off camera. Sorry if you're getting rattling, and I'll stick it up my jumper. It means I can't move around very much, so bear with. I'll just go off camera for a minute because I have to stick it up my jumper. Sorry if you can hear lots of rattling. Sorry about that. Perhaps I need a new battery. Right. Okay. Oh, I do hate it when I have to wear a wire because it gets in my way. Right, is that any better, guys? Let me know. Just one or two people. Hi Lizzie and everyone, sounds okay. Marion says that's better. Bernadette says yes, still not good. What? Bernadette, switch your machine up. Marion says that's better. Clear on Facebook, thank you Jacqueline. Yes, evening. I can't hear you very well. Oh, I'll ignore that one for the moment. Perfect. Okay. If John comes back and he comes to visit me, I'll ask him to change my battery because it could well be that. Lovely. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm sorry about that slight diversion. Apologies. Right, we will now concentrate on what we're supposed to be doing, which is stitching. So we are going to be stitching Modern Anvil. So let's just have a little quick look at that overhead. Here we go. I'm a little bit zoomed out today, but I can always bring this in. So Modern Anvil, as you can see, it's just two colours. Now then, as we talked about the other day, you can obviously do 3 colours, 4 colours if you want to. The main thing is that I suppose you have this design here because that is obviously the anvil shape, but I think it doesn't detract. I think if you kept these sort of more, perhaps, I'm not going to say plainer fabric, but a less obvious fabric, and these are brighter, then that anvil sort of picture design, sorry, will stand out. So I think do you. I shall stick with 2 because that's what that dictates to me. So it's better for me to stick with the card, and then but you can go off piste if you want to. So as we normally do, we've got our 6 fabrics. Are you? It was until it went up your jumper. Well, I hope, Jackie, behave. I hope it's okay now. Oh, John's here. I might have to. I'm not going to shout him because you'll hear. But it could well be the battery. But if he comes up here, if he won't be able to hear me, there's no point shouting. Yes. So there we are. 6 lots of fabric. You've seen them all before. My goodness me, you're so used to them now. You'll be picking them in your sleep. But those are the fabrics. So obviously, don't tell me your numbers just yet. I'm still laughing at Jackie's comment. Sorry, you've got your 6 fabrics. I need your numbers. So I need 2, but don't give them to me just yet. Okay, just look at the fabrics, choose 2, and then obviously I'm going to mix the fabrics up. We've done this one a lot. We've done this one a lot. I don't mind that. I don't want your numbers just yet. I don't mind the plain again, because that always blends in. And my lovely Kath sent me some more of this plain because she went to Higgs and Higgs the other day. So thank you. I meant to say, Kath, I've got your fabric. I got it this morning. Yeah, so there we are. There are the numbers. So now you can put your 2 numbers up. You can put your 2 numbers up, and I will mix these around, okay? So don't forget, I actually, I've got a brain like a fish. I will never be able to remember what order I've put these in, and that's been proved several times. Oh, let's just move those ones around. Although I could have kept that the same. Yeah, I'm talking to myself, guys, don't worry. So there we are. I've mixed them around. I'll try and get them a bit more tidier. Right, 2 numbers, guys, 2 numbers. So I'm not looking at the numbers. Truly, I can't remember them at all. Okay. Right. 1 and 2. Interesting, Gemma. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Let's see what comes up on my screen, because they really do pop out for me. 4. 4's coming up again quite a lot. 4, 3. My age, 23. Nicola. 4 and 2, 35. 3. 3's coming up. 3. Lots of 3's. Should we go with 3? Let's go with 3. Oh, okay. That's the plain. So I'm happy with that, because sometimes we need that blender in there, don't we? So 3, I'm happy with that. Well, not that I'm not happy with any of them, but anyway, 3. Right, let's have a look. Oh, 2 again. 2. 2's coming up. 2 and 4. Okay, so is it a toss-up between 2 and 4? Let's do a toss-up between 2 and 4. Which one? 2 or 4? Tell me. 2 or 4? You have to give me one of those. 2 or 4. I'll wait for it to come up on my screen. 6? Susan, do pay attention. 4. Okay, we've got more 4's. Catherine says 2. Oh, 4's, 4, 4. Oh, loads. See, what I need is somebody to count them, which I don't expect you to do at all. Oh, now, let's have a look. I think maybe 2's. Maybe 2's. What was the first one? I can't remember what the first one number was now. 2. Should we go with 2? 2, 4's. Oh, blow. Let's go with 2. Oh, no. I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. Now, you know that's not a cheat, because I wouldn't necessarily have picked that. What was 4? 4 was the dark blue. 4 was that one. If we look behind, we've got a couple with the dark blue on. Let's pick with our original one. Let's be honest. Let's stick with the original one. I've got nobody to blame except myself. Oh dear, oh dear. Honestly. Right, let's put those 2 on the floor. I'm just going to see John to see if we can change the battery. If he does do that, you know I'll have to come off for just a couple of minutes, or not finish, but I'll be. So let me just let's message him. Right. Okay, I've told him my battery's low. He'll probably think that's me. Probably come up with a Barocca drink. Does anybody know what a Barocca drink is? Right, so here we go. Well, I mean, do you know what? The fabrics are lovely. Whichever we choose, they're lovely, aren't they? And by the time, this is only 6. We've got 6 more to do. So we're bound to, you know. I wonder if he'll answer. Do you mean you? Right. Let's have a look overhead. Let's have a look overhead. So there's a little bit of cutting to do. You can see. So this is our 10-inch block there. Okay. I'll give you the measurements as we go, because I know that's quite small. No, I've not had any sherry, Sue. Just water. Yeah, vitamin drink. Oh, maybe yes. He'll probably think, yeah, battery low. Go and get her a sherry. Right. So what we need to decide is, I think the outside should be plains, shouldn't they? Just like they've got here, the outside plains. The anvil should be the pattern fabric. Yeah, I think that would be sensible. Do you? So let's label them up, because you know now I'm getting used to my labels. So let's see if I can find them. Had them a minute ago. Okay. So let me just. Where's my pencil? Oh, I'm not doing so well tonight. Here we go. So the pattern one is the green, and it is D. D is the pattern, and it's the squares as well, which are C. So D and C, or C and D, yeah, whichever way round. So the rest are A, B and E. So let's just check. Let's put it over there so you don't tell me off. A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. Yeah? Good to go? So if we cut D and C first, and then we'll cut A, B and E. So let me just pop it there. Let me just fold this one up out of the way. Keep my little tab with it. Oh, here comes John. Oh, hello, John. My microphone battery is low. Have you got a spare?
Yeah.
I've told the ladies it will go silent for a minute while we change it,
Okay.
but I've had to wear it, which, and it's here, look.
Yeah.
Do you not undo it until you've got the spare?
I've got one.
Okay.
I don't know which one it is though.
Oh, all right. Right, I'm going to go silent, ladies, just for a minute.
Do some sign language.
I can't do sign language. My technical guru. People are saying, hello, John. Hello, John.
That's one of those.
Oh, can you still hear me? I might be still connected. Everybody's saying hello. He's gone into his room of tricks. Well, no, when I say tricks, I mean work stuff. Right, let's cut these. I don't know if you can still hear me, but I'll cut these anyway. You know what I'm doing. So let's, I'm going to start from the other end. Oh, which is I've cut anyway. So it might suddenly go loud, and if it goes loud, I'll change it. Look, everybody's saying hello.
Hello.
Happy New Year.
They can't hear me.
I can hear. Oh, you won't now, Patricia. He's just changing. Well, in a sec, he's just changing it. I'll get on with cutting these.
Oops, right way.
So C is 2. We need 3 inches. John, we can hear you. Oh, they can hear you, John.
I hear my heavy breathing. You've got a little screwdriver.
Hold on. Oh, I can't get up because Millie's just there.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I bet you won't need for that. They want you to give them a wave.
Can they hear you?
Can you hear me? John has just changed the battery. Has John got a new motor? Oh, I bet that's noisy. Right. Yes, we can, says Abigail.
Yeah.
Can you hear me on there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Wait. Oh, hold on. Loud and clear. In that case, I'm going to take my microphone off because I can't work with it very well on. Oh.
Did that go in a bit?
Yes, it did, love. I need just to take my microphone off.
Okay, right.
Just mind Millie. I've just got to change my mic. Sorry, guys.
What are you doing there?
Well, I have to take it out because it gets too loud. No, there's no volume control. Right, guys. Oh, goodness gracious. Hold on, guys. Right. Is that okay? Hopefully, we're all okay. If it's not, well, blame John. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, it should be okay now. It's one of those things you can't always test. It's a weird old thing. Right, so, yes, that's fab. Thank you, Jill. Right, we're sorted. Lovely. Right, back as you were, guys, as you were. We're cutting, first of all, we're cutting C. And C on here is, we need to cut 2 and they're 3 inches square. Okay? So we've done this quite a few times now, but it's nice to keep going over things over and over again. So I'm just going to straighten up my edge. And we're just going to straighten this up. So I need to put that on my line there so it's nice and straight. So all these little scraps, you know, you might think it's really wasteful, but quite honestly, whatever would you do with little scraps like that? Really not much. So let's get going, let's get cracking, because I really wanted to cover a sashing tonight. It doesn't take long, I'll be honest, but it would be nice to cover it, so at least you'll know how you're going to put your blocks together. And I know some of you, there's 2 done, look, 2 done. I know some of you have already started to put yours together, and you obviously you can do it in the usual way. Right, so the other one we're going to cut is D. And D, if I bring it up here, it's cut 1, we need 2, and they're 5 7/8. So it's a funny old measurement, so be careful when you're measuring. And so that next square where it says we need 2, you're going to cut diagonally across, okay? And so it's a really quite a big square, and then obviously it's quite a big half square triangle. Oh, Vic has got some prawn crackers. I'll have some, Vic. Save some for me. Don't give them all away. Right, 5 7/8 is just the nodget. Let me bring that up so you can see, because this is where sometimes we go wrong. So 7/8, if you think about it, that inch is divided up into 8 little nodgets, okay? Think of a better word. The 6 is on the end, the last nodget, okay? So that's, let's call that 8. So that little nodget there is 7. So it's 7/8. So if you go 5 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's your 5 7/8 just there, okay, where my fingernail is. This fingernail, not my thumb. So that's what we want to measure. So we really want to make sure that that is accurate. So I'm making sure I'm lined up here, and I'm looking along here just to make sure that's nice and straight. I don't trust it, so I'm going to cut 6 and then I'm going to trim it down, because this is where you need to have that accuracy, okay? I can't stress that enough, because obviously some of us have struggled with sizes of our blocks, and sometimes all it is that you've kind of just misread the information, or you've misheard, or whatever the reason, and it's usually something quite simple. So 5 7/8, so that's 1 there, so sorry my head's in the way, 5 7/8 there, 5 7/8 there, so I'm good to cut. And I know that is absolutely a perfect square, because we just literally cut it. So there's my 5 7/8, and then we're going to cut it diagonally. Well, to be honest, you can't do it with that ruler, okay? So we have to get a bigger ruler in. So get one point sorted and just bring the other end of the ruler up, and we're going to cut into 2 half square triangles. So there we are. So we've cut our D's and C's, okay? D's and C's. So the next ones are the planes, and we're going A, B and E. So if I bring that up here, you can see we're doing A, B's and E's. So with E, it's exactly the same as what we've just cut. So I might as well do that now. So it's another 5 7/8 square. So it's this one at the bottom. So it's cut 1, we need 2, so 2 half square triangles. And our measurement is 5 7/8. Okay, so that's E. So let's do that. So let's put the little ruler to one side for the moment. And let's have a look at our fabric. There we go, smash him. So we'll probably be able to get it in that little bit there. I'm not sure about all of this going on, so I'm going to cut a 6" again, and I'm going to trim it down. So we know when I cut, as I come to here and across here, we know this corner is going to be perfect. So it's the rest of it that we need to square up and make super neat. So I'll just go straight across there, might as well. Okay, so I'll just move that out of the way. So this is the corner that we know is right. So flip it round. Iron your fabrics, please, guys. And then we're going 5 7/8. 5 7/8. So if we look here, I'm just about there, and here, and oh, I'm just about there. There we go. Let's move it back, because there's my six. I want 5 7/8. So that's there and that's there. We're all correct. So hold your ruler down nice and firmly and just trim away. Just trim away. Be interesting to have collected all the little tiny scraps to see how much there was wastage, but I don't think very much. So again, we've got our square. We know that we're going to cut it into 2. So if I show you again, we've cut E. We need 2, so we have to cut it diagonally, and we know that we've cut 5 7/8. So get this corner lined up, or the top one, and then I just swing it over. Give that a little nudge if it's moved, and there's E. Okay. So going back to our fabric, this is where we've got little sort of funny bits like this. I really think I might get my iron out. Let's just switch it on quickly. So the next one we're going to do is A, and A, if I bring it up, there we go. A is we need to cut 2. We need 2, and they're 3 by 5.5 inches. Okay, 3 by 5.5 inches. We know these are inches. We've talked about this before, but it doesn't have the inch sign. So you've just got to trust me that that's inch. So we need to cut 2, we need 2, and they're 3 by 5.5. So we get our little ruler. I'm not sure I trust that little end there, so I'm just going to trim it away. Trim off the bit that need ironing. So we're doing 3 by 5.5. So get your 3 on the bottom line and bring your 5.5 over as well. Just check your fabric, because if this was a funny old line that you left, and it might not be that accurate. So let's just double check. 3 and 5.5. And I think the trick always, if there is such a thing as a trick with cutting fabric, is to absolutely keep checking yourself all the time. Just check. It doesn't take a minute. Check again and check again. So 3 by 5.5. Okay, so that is A. Now we want B. So B is cut 2, we need 2, and they're 3-inch squares. Okay, so let's go back to this again. So they're 3-inch squares and we need 2. So I can hear John and Millie chatting, and she follows us around. Honestly, she's such a good dog. She hasn't always been a good dog. Tibetan Terriers, and those that have got them know that they are the boss. They really are. Right. So with our planes, we needed A, B and E. So A, B and E. So let's just double check. So A is the rectangles, B is the squares, and E was the triangles, half square triangles. And then for the other fabric, which was D and C, so if we look at C, we wanted 2 of those, we've got 2, and D was one of those big squares cut diagonally to make a half square triangle. Okay, so we're good to go. We're good to go. And I can only apologise for that start to our demonstration, but it makes it really interesting. Now you know the technicalities of being in my room. Got no battery, love. Get your battery. Yes, I wish he had bought a sherry. That'd have been nice. I wouldn't have minded. Okay, so let's, before we do anything, is to give these fabrics a little bit of an iron, because they are quite crumpled. So we'll give them a quick press. You can just layer them up, because the heat goes right through, especially with these wool mats. This wool mat was from Abigail. I'm not sure she has them anymore. She'll have to tell us if she's thinking of getting them in, but they are splendid, because the heat transfers from the wool up to your fabric, and gosh, it makes ironing an absolute breeze. The other thing is, before you put your blocks together, you could best press them. I won't do it with mine because my best press is a little bit wild. But you could best press them so they're lovely and starched. And they actually go together really easily when they've had that best press on them. And when I say easily, I mean they have more substance to them. Makes quite a difference actually. So let me just get rid of my phone. So when we look at the card, actually I'll go on the side camera. When we look at the card, it tells us how to make these up. So they've done it in 2 different little blocks. So we're going to stitch A, B and C together. And you see that okay? And then we're going to do D and E. And then it's a case of repeating. So I think what we'll do is, well, actually, let's follow what they've said. I was going to say we could, chain piece them, but I think what we'll do is we'll just do 1 block at a time. So we'll create that one, we'll create that one, then we'll do that one, and then we'll do that one, and then we can stitch them together. So not too difficult at all. So let's get my lovely mat in, because it's so much easier to see with my lovely mat. I'm going to bring and I want to show you, sorry, I want to show you this. You remember we talked last night about how you can layer your quilt pieces together and how you can secure all the layers, and we tend to use glue these days, but I have done a whole quilt, and I meant to bring it in actually, using the micro stitch, and it can be quite vicious. And actually this was on top of a wardrobe because of the children. It's incredibly sharp, so it will go through your fabric. So kind of like a point there, what could you call it? It's not quite a needle, but it goes through your fabric. And sorry, I was just looking at it. I'll show you in a little while what it looks like, and it will keep the layers together. I'm not sure it's as accurate and as brilliant as stitching, basting or spray gluing, but it is another tool that you can use. It's very quick and very super efficient. So a micro stitch is a good way, and I'll show you how it works a little bit later. Yeah. So let's get these blocks done. So what we're going to do is we're going to do A, and then we got B, and then we've got C. So we're going to just put that little block together first. So these 2 together, and then we'll pop it onto that one, and we're good to go. Okay, so I think this is actually quite a nice little easy block. So have your 1/4 inch, either your machine will tell you, you can move the needle across like I just did, or you can have a 1/4 inch foot. Whatever the case, just make sure it is a 1/4 inch, because like I said the other night, I do, on my other dookie, I do have a 1/4 inch foot, and it isn't. It really isn't. And a friend got it for me, and I think, I'm not going to say whether it was a dookie one or not, but I have to compensate for it all the time, so it's just worth knowing. So there's our first 2 little blocks put together. Now finger press or get your iron on these. I'll just finger press for the moment, but I will iron shortly. And then it's right sides together with your piece A. And if I were you, I would just have a look at your seam, make sure it's lying flat, and I would probably stitch from that seam. I just want to make sure I'm getting these in the right order, because we've got in a muddle before now. So C is my pretty fabric, okay, so that's in the right position. In fact, I'm going to stitch with the rectangle on the top. So push your fabrics if you need to. I've always got my walking foot on. It doesn't look like it, but that is a walking foot that's attached to my machine. If you have to put yours on, you might find that you never take it off once you've got it on. I'm going to increase my stitch length. So I'm putting mine up to 2.6 just to make my stitching quicker. I would like yours to go down to minimum 2.4, 2.2, a minimum. Okay, so there's our lovely little block already. So I'm just going to give it a quick iron so it looks super neat. So don't forget, you can set your seam. So we've talked about this. Setting your seam just means that you're pushing the stitches into the fabric. So you could do that for the first little block as well, and then it actually folds over beautifully, and you get a lovely finish with it. There we go. Let's just give it another little press. And to be honest, I mean, it makes a good job of pressing, but actually once you get your big iron on this with best press, it makes this 100% better. Okay, it really does make a difference. So there's our first little bit. So the second one is, and let me show you, the second one is the 2 half square triangles. So this one is D, this one is E. So once again, keep looking at your guide there. I know if you haven't got the card, you're reliant on me, and that's why I'm showing you. But you want to make sure that you've got all these in the right direction. I know at the moment it doesn't matter so much, but when you come to piece them together, you really want to make sure you follow that diagram. And like I say, the one on YouTube is, the picture is slightly different to this picture, but it's the same block thereabouts, the same block. So just make sure that your layers are sitting beautifully on top of each other. I mean, you can't see the mauve, can you? Because it is underneath, but because they were cut well, they should lay right on top of each other. You shouldn't be able to see the bottom layer. So just keep them lined up, pin if you need to, guys. And I was thinking last night about what else you can do. You could, if you wanted to, put some little bits of quilter's tape down to secure your layers, but don't forget that quilter's tape is 1/4 inch wide. So you want to make sure that it doesn't stick out from your seam. So, you know, I'm just sort of giving you a sort of a heads up on that. So there's our other half, if you like. So let's get the mat in. I was just about to say, I bet it doesn't go under there. No, it doesn't. So I'll have it in midair. So here we go. So how are you getting on with your blocks? How are you getting on with them? Are you enjoying doing them? What I've seen has been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Also, the other thing to remember is, often you hear people say, you know, you have to press to the dark side. Well, yeah, it helps, because sometimes with light fabrics, I'm going to have to put this down. Sometimes with light fabrics, you can see the fabric through. It's kind of becomes see-through. And so pushing it to the darker side really helps with hiding your fabric. But quite honestly, you know, once you've quilted it, and we talked about this last night, once you've quilted it, then you know what, it doesn't really show that much. It really doesn't. Yeah, I won't get too hung up about it. Okay, so let's have a look at our pattern. So let's bring this up so you can see. So we've got A, B and C joined together, A, B and C joined together, and then we've got E and D. So make sure your 2 pretties are sitting next door to each other, and we could stitch those together while we've got them handy, so we might as well. And then all we're going to do is actually do the opposite. So we're going to we'll create that first, might as well, because it's first in me looking at it, and then we'll create that one. Just make sure you get your pretty fabrics all in the right place, okay? And I'll have it just in front of me just to make sure I follow what I've said. Because sometimes I don't. So did anybody see the picture of my Easter eggs? Yeah, I'm sure lots of people did. I went into Marks and Spencer's for my dad today, because I care for my dad on a Saturday. And I always get him something, a tasty tea, so he has something nice for his tea, because he doesn't cook for himself. And yeah, they had Easter eggs, and also when I popped into the co-op coming home, they had hot cross buns. Yes, I know. So now this should all be lined up. It's not at the moment, but it will make it work. So there we are. So there's our 2 top blocks stitched together. So I'm going to just press the seam. So we'll bring that in so you can see what I'm doing. It's not very interesting, but we're just setting that seam. And we'll just flip that over. And there'll probably be, yeah, it wants to go that way. It wants to go out from your half square triangle. Okay, the fabric often dictates, and it will sit better if it goes the way that it wants to go, right? So you might want to think about that with, you know, like pressing to the dark side and all that sort of thing. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. So now we're going to do the same again. So let me pop my mat down. So we're going to stitch our triangles first, our half square triangles. Just pop those down. Oh, there's Millie outside. She's barking away. She doesn't mind fireworks, guys. I know perhaps your pets will not like them, but she's fine with them. And she's not deaf or anything like that. So, yeah, she's like, really? Now be careful you don't stretch these as you stitch, because of course they are on the bias. So just gently ease them in. Don't stretch them. Okay. So there's that little block done. If we look at the pattern, right? So if I hold it like that and we look at the card, we want it so the pretty goes up to the top. And then next door we've got the pretty, the plain and the plain. So let's do those 2 little square blocks first. And I'll press those other ones. So we'll do it like it looks like on the card. And just stitch down there. Yes, it's not a happy time for pets, is it? When the fireworks start going off, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you can't, you know, you can't sort of say to people, you know, you mustn't have fireworks. It's one of those things that's a little bit controversial, isn't it? I suppose we still, you know, it's tradition, isn't it? It's a very hard one. It's a very hard one to sort of say what's right and what's wrong. I don't really have an opinion on it, not really. I suppose I'm lucky that our Millie doesn't mind the fireworks, but I know lots of cats and dogs absolutely hate them. And other pets too, I'm sure. But, yeah, I think we're just lucky. See, I've got the smallest mat in the world. Don't you ever complain about your pressing mats when you've got one as small as this? I think it's about 3.5 inches by 5. Just right for you to see on here, though. Okay, so on our pattern, let's just check it again. We've got the dark up the top there, can you see? Then we've got the pretty square next to it, so we're going to join those 2 together. Oh, we haven't done the rectangle yet. That would be a good idea if we did that. So let's have a look and make sure that we're going to get this right. Yeah, she'll bark at anything. If somebody's light goes on, she barks at it. But for fireworks, nah. It's like, that's so last year. Kind of is actually, isn't it? It really is. Yeah, and it's not fair. But right, so let's just set that seam. Yeah, so hot cross buns, and it actually says Happy Easter on them. It doesn't, because the eggs were like, you know, like hide and seek eggs, so it could be for any time of the year, I suppose. But these actually did say Happy Easter. We haven't even got Valentine's yet. It's like, what? Okay, so we're looking at our blocks now. We've got our half square triangles and our pretties. So we need our pretties to go together, yeah? So we're just going to put those together and stitch down. And then we'll give those a good press as well. So be accurate with this. You know, I'm being quick, but do pin, use clips if you want to. I'm not a keen fan on clips when there's just 2 single layers of fabric, but sometimes that works. straight off the end there. Who says, well, I have one from La La Land. My dachshunds bark at an ant 100 metres away. Oh, Shirley. Yeah, but dachshunds are very sort of, they're sort of very barky, aren't they? Is that the right thing to say about a dachshund? Because my friend has got dachshunds and they are a bit barky. Oh, they bark at an ant 100 yards away. I love that. So again, we're just pressing that seam out that we just stitched, and we're pressing away so our lovely triangle sits nice and flat. And then we're just going to join them together. So that's our bottom row. Let's do it so you can see it properly. Beautiful. This is our top row. Beautiful. If we look at the card, there you go. So if I move that away, yay! So all we need to worry about is this point here. Now then, on my phone, I've got a snapshot of somebody posting on YouTube, and I'll get the message because it was really good. It was from Julia Arnold. So Julia, if you're watching tonight, I'm reading out your comment. Hope you don't mind. She says, I'm no quilter, but want to get my junctions lined up. I will stitch an inch over each junction. Check happy all is lining up. If it's not, only an inch to unpick. Once I'm happy, I will stitch all the way across. Now, Julia, I said to you, that's a good tip. I'll use that tonight. So I think that's a brilliant idea that you just, if this is the only one you've got to do, line these up and then only stitch, that much and see how they're sitting. The other thing I thought about is that if you've got some quilter's tape, and I don't have any, of course I don't have any on my desk, you could actually put a little bit of quilter's tape on here, put right sides together, stick them together, flip, and then just see if they're lined up. And then you can move your quilter's tape if it's not perfect. I wonder if I've got my quilter's tape handy. I usually have, because I thought about that today. The only thing you've got to consider is that quilter's tape is 1/4 inch. So you really want to be careful that you don't have the glue showing, because although quilter's tape tends to be wash away, you just don't want it showing. You just don't want to mess about, do you? So I would keep it a little bit off of the 1/4 inch. So you could put your quilter's tape on here. I mean, I don't know if this is going to work. I haven't tried. So pop your quilter's tape on, lift the glue, lift the backing, reveal your glue. If I move it, there you go, you can just see the shine of the glue. And then, let's just see if my seams are going to be nested, because yeah, they're going to be nested. So now I'm going to nest them as best as I can and stick that together and then lift it up and see. And that's not bad, guys. And I don't check that hard, but that is something that you could consider. Okay, a little bit of quilter's tape or a pin, whatever it takes. And also last night, didn't we talk about stitching just from the middle and out, especially when you've got a long piece and a long piece that's got a lot of bias. So, all of these things are there, all these little tips that I would suggest aren't strictly what the Quilters Guild would tell you, but it's what I suggest. So you can take it or leave it. You can, work your own way of doing these things. And anyway, any advice is good advice, isn't it? I think. And then you can try it for yourself. If you don't like it, try something else. Try something else. I'm all for that. So I've left my quilter's tape on there. I must admit I didn't check to see if it was lined up. So we just got to hope. We'll see. I hope it's better than... I hope I got my blocks in the right place. I didn't check. I think... Oh, hey, guys. Hey guys, that's not bad. Let's give it a quick press. Gosh, it's raining here. Now that's going to put people off their fireworks. Now then, this is an instance where I will open my seam. Controversial, opening seams, controversial. But I want you to have a quick look. If I press this all over to there, you're doubling up. Oh, sorry guys. Go. So, yeah, opening seams a little bit controversial. Okay, you love it or hate, a bit like Marmite. This triangle, can you see? It wants to go that way. Fine. With here, we're doubling up all our fabrics. So we've actually got 4 fabrics sitting on top of each other. Here is nested. Not too bad at all. If I keep that like that, that's fine. That's only whatever it is, 4 layers of fabric, but it doesn't mind lying that way. There's no other junction there. It's not coming back on itself. And this one, that's going to come back on itself, so it's a bit lumpy. Okay, you can do whatever you like, but I think in this instance I would open the seam. Trim your dog ears off. Do trim. But I would definitely... Oh, look, my tape's there. Remove your quilter's tape. Yes, you'd want to do that. And actually, it probably will open up. It's only a little bit of glue. So it probably will open up. Now, hold on a sec. How funny. Oh, dear me. So, yeah, just ease that open. You know I'm not going to be able to do this in this, next 10 seconds. But open this up. Get your nail in there. Don't iron it. Peel it off. It will peel. This is not a permanent glue, don't forget. It's not a permanent glue. I'm looking for my stiletto. Just peel that back. Sorry, guys. Good advice. And now I'm having to pick it open. Oh, that rain. I don't know if you can hear it. Right, I'm going to leave it at that because I need a new pair of glasses, I reckon. It just wants to lift up. I'm going to leave it like that, guys. But you can remove that tape. It's no bother. Just take your time. I'm always push for time, as you know. Give it a little best press. Give it a nice iron. Be careful that you're not stretching things. Don't pull them too much. The best time to move your fabric around and manipulate it is when you actually layer it up for quilting, because that then puts it in the right position. Do you see that? That's where I pulled it and it stretched it out because it's a bias. So what I'll do, I'll relax that with some best press. Not now though, not now, but I will make sure that that's relaxed. Okay, so there we are. So there's our block. So don't forget, we talked about the fact that we've got just about 10 minutes. Don't forget, we've got you're going to layer this up. We talked about that last night. Let me just pop that to one side. I'll put that through there. And you're going to layer them up, and you want a 12-inch piece. We talked about it last night, so look at last night's live. You want a 12-inch piece of wadding, you want a 12-inch piece of backing. You're then going to quilt or baste it all together in whatever way you like, and then you're going to quilt. Now this one I did this morning, and we made it last night, and I've done wavy lines. Can you see? Maybe not. I'm going to turn it over in a sec. I used this micro stitch to actually bring all the layers together. Can you see there's a little tiny black mark there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. And all you're going to do is you push the needle through your fabric, so it's a bit vicious, although it's very, very sharp, and then you just press the gun and it leaves this little tag. So let me just bring it up to the camera so you can see. I'm going to wriggle that tag. Can you see it? And if we flip it over, you can see the little tags on the back that look like dead flies. Well, that tag is holding all those layers together. So a micro stitch is really quite a good little thing. You might want to place it into your fabrics that are patterned, because I don't think it makes a hole. Just about to cut these, so we'll soon find out. This is about, well, it must be 30 years old, because I've had that since the girls were tiny. So I'm just going to snip these now. So just snip, and a little bit of best press and what have you, steam will close those holes up. But I would say try on scrap fabric first and see how you get on. Now my big quilt, which I must remember to bring in to show you, which I made, like I say, over 30 years ago, it still has some of these tags in, because obviously I'm still stitching it. And when the kids sit on it in the summer for a picnic, because I do use it even though it's not finished, they always complain about the scratchy bits on the quilt. And I haven't told them about these little plastic bits because I don't want them to pick at it, and they haven't really discovered them. So, aren't I? Cruel grammar, cruel grammar. Now I've told them, their mum will tell them now. Right. Okay, we need to join 2 blocks together. So let me get the other one we're putting together with this. And this is the other one that I did this morning. And so a little bit of best press on there. Look, that'll all come out fine. Always a little bit of plastic in there. I'll leave that. So this one I cross-hatched. So if we look at the back, I cross-hatched this morning. So when we look at the back of the quilt, we'll have quite interesting designs. And obviously then you'll have the sashing that goes in between. Now I'm going to do my sashing at 1/2 inch, okay? Which means that these blocks that we've made will, inside the sashing, will butt up to each other, okay? It all will become clear. If you want sashing to be bigger, like that, then I'll tell you all about how you're going to cut it, but you'll need to put a strip of wadding underneath your top piece, or your bottom piece, makes no difference, to bridge the gap. Otherwise you'll have nothing there except fabric. So as we go along, you'll see we've got a few minutes to do this. It shouldn't take us too long. So I was looking in my stash for some complementary fabric, and I found this Stonehenge fabric, and it's got mauves in it and what have you, and I thought actually that's really quite nice. So I'm going to use this. Now, cutting your sashing, I would go selvage to selvage. My fabric is not straight, so I've got to straighten this up. The first piece you're going to cut, to do it the way I'm doing it, is 1 inch, I know, 1 inch by 10.5, or whatever size your block is. Okay, so if your block has turned out to be a little bit sort of smaller, let's say, then cut them all the same size, and but always do them to the correct length of your block. So if your block is 10 inches, you're cutting a 1 inch by 10 inch strip. Okay, so there's our first 1 inch strip. The second strip we're going to cut is 1.5 inches. Okay, 1.5 inches. So let's do that. So I'll only do these 2 bits. Put that down. And of course, don't forget that this is going to show on the back as well as the front. So you might want to make the back in a different fabric. It might, because I've got pink on mine, you might want a dark pink or a stripe or a dot. So you could make the sashing on the back just as beautiful as the front. So think about all those different things you can do, because really there's no end of options. So we want 10.5. So each strip will be the length of your block, whatever that ends up being. So that's 1. This is 2. So 10.5. And you want this to fit. So you want to try, if you've got a walking foot, you really need a walking foot to put this on with, or pin it like crazy, because you don't really want it to move. Okay, with your 1.5 inch strip, you're going to fold it in half, and you're going to give it a press, a nice press. Make sure those raw edges are sitting beautifully on top of each other. Not bad. I've turned my iron off, so oh dear. Right, so your 1.5 inch strip you've folded in half, your 1 inch strip stays the same. Okay, like that. Just give it an iron. Now then, there's several ways you can, well, a couple of ways you can do this. So I'll talk through both and then I shall show you the one I'm doing, or tell you the one I'm doing. Okay, so if you want to do it all by machine, yeah, then you're going to put your 1 inch strip on the back. So take one block, flip it, and put this right sides together with your block. Okay, hold on, let me think. Yeah, I'm thinking, is that right? Yeah. So this is for machining. Okay, machining. I like to hand stitch, so I should be doing it the second way. So on the back of it, you're putting your 1 inch strip. On the front, we'll just keep that there for the moment. On the front, you're putting your folded piece. So what you've got is a complete sandwich of your 1 inch, your block, and your folded 1.5 inch strip. Okay. Now and what you can do is you can stitch and then you can actually top stitch this. Now I don't want to confuse you, but I'm going to do it my way, and then I'll tell you how you're going to do it if you're going to machine stitch, because I like to hand stitch, just one of those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 1 inch strip on the top, and this is just on this one piece, and I'm going to pin it. Okay, I'm going to pin it with my dreadful pins because I need to get my other ones. Where are they? Here they are. I've got beautiful pins and they're being used for something else. So you really want these to secure your fabric. Okay, you want to make sure that everything is lying straight and that your piece of sashing is absolutely in place, because we want to make sure that we don't stretch this out, because if you stretch it, all of your blocks are going to be wonky. Right, so we're flipping that over and I'm going to attach this piece. Now what I can do, I could put my quilter's tape on this. I could use my pins, but don't forget I've got double thickness of wadding here. So I'm going to use quilter's tape, and maybe, I don't really want to do the machine way on another block, but I can talk to you about it. Because if you're doing it the machine way, I want you to imagine that this back is actually our right side. Okay, I know it's going to be hard for you to think about that. So let's just get that glued down. I'm just pushing that down with my nail. So ideally you're going to pin, but I don't want to move my pins, and I don't want to, I've got them going through lots of layers, so I'm just leaving well alone. The glue, although it's only sticking obviously 1/2, will really help to keep your fabric in place. And if you want to, pop some pins in, but please don't stitch over them. Please don't stitch over them. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes. I'm a couple of minutes over, guys, so I do apologise. I don't like going for more than an hour. So let's just pop a pin in just to make sure. Okay, and we're going to stitch from the front. We're going to stitch from the front. We haven't even touched that second block yet. So I'm going to stitch all the way down here with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So let's just bring the machine in. Hold on a sec. Okay, and this is what you're going to do with joining 2 blocks together and then obviously if you've got a third block, then you're going to stitch that third block in that way as well. So let me just, I'm taking my pins out as I go. Try and keep your fabric from moving, and like I say, if you've got a walking foot, this is really where it comes into its own. But you can see I'm still holding my fabric. I'm just guiding my fabric. I'm not stretching it, I'm guiding it just to make sure it doesn't move. I'm not pulling, just I'm kind of not easing it, I'm just kind of guiding it. You can see, I'll get my hand out of the way. Okay, so let's get down to the end. Super job. And if you want to do a back stitch, do a back stitch. Okay, so let's go on the overhead again. So quickly do this. So that's our first bit of sashing on, and you can give that an iron if you want to. This is the back. So if you're doing it the machine way, this is what your front will look like, because this is the folded edge, and it's the folded edge that you would stitch onto, there's the glue there, onto the second block, right? But you're going to do this one first. So this little piece here, you're going to do that one first. So this is the way I do it. So take your second block, okay, just about see. Take your second block, and you're doing right sides together with your sashing. So let's just iron it so it lays flatter. There's the sashing. So you're going right sides together with your sashing. You're lining up again, looking gorgeous. I'm going to flip it over because I want to see the raw edge of the sashing. You're not touching this folded one. All you're doing is stitching the edge of your 1 inch strip. Okay, it's a bit fiddly because they're small, but trust me, it works, and there's a reason why all this works, and I'll show you as soon as I'm done. So now I'm going to stitch all the way down here, 1/4 inch. So if we look at the front, and you see, and if you're not sure what I just did, just rewind the video, okay? Just rewind the video. So now we're going to stitch 1/4 inch down that edge. And again, use your quilter's tape if you want to. That will keep you in check. And also, I'm sorry my hands, oh no. Hold on, sorry guys, I get carried away because I'm trying to finish now. Use your stiletto to hold that, keep it all in place. Really does help, just be careful of your needle. And obviously you could use clips now because we're going through all of these layers. Take that out. I'm a little bit wonky with my stitching, but I think because I'm trying to rush. Okay, so I stitched down that raw edge. I stitched down here, it's gone a bit wonky there, but that's okay. So if we look at the front now, we've got our sashing. So if we do it, that's the way we wanted to look at it. So now we've got our sashing. Okay, so it's only 1/2 inch strip. Now you can do exactly the same with a wider piece, but you'll need to put wadding in there, okay? Because if I flip this over now, my 2 blocks, forget about that piece of sashing there, my 2 blocks are meeting, okay? They're meeting, and that's what gives me the wadding, if you like, for my sashing. The sashing then gets, the folded edge gets pushed over towards the stitching, and you can hand stitch. If you want to do this all by machine, then this would be your front, and you would top stitch all the way down there, okay? But like I say, I do like to hand stitch my sashing because you've got to be quite sort of clever with your top stitching when you're doing this. So what you would do is you would do all of this hand stitching, make sure it's all in place before you even start thinking about doing the across the width of your 3 blocks. Okay, that's what you would do. So that's the back and that's the front, and that's your sashing done. It is only 1/2 inch, and this is going to be like a window pane with this darker sort of purple in there, but actually it's a really easy way of being able to create a quilt in blocks, very manageable, with this sashing going on here. Okay, so that's that really. Oh, goodness me, what time? 10 past. Sorry I've kept you. It's now nearly the witching hour, isn't it, for Happy New Year's and all of that sort of things. Happy New Year's and Happy Hogmanay. So that's our little lesson for today. I think that looked quite nice with that dark. Under this light, it looks almost black, but it's a purpley colour and a blue, and it kind of goes, and pinks, and it does actually go. I don't know if you can see it any better if I do that. And that's obviously, like I say, that's the back. Okay, so you can see how those blocks look on the plain pink. They'll look really cool, won't they? With all the different sorts of stitching. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate it. We're on day 7 tomorrow. It'd be fab if you could join me. Thank you so much for the over 200 people that were watching me tonight. I really appreciate it. I know I said you should be at the disco, but it's, you know, it's lovely to be here as well. Have a fabulous rest of the evening. Thank you so much for being so supportive in 2022. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all. You're just absolutely super, so positive, so happy, so kind, and you know what, that's what it's all about, surely. So go and have yourself a great little party now with your sherry or your Diet Coke, whatever you have, and I will see you next year. I shall see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy